Thank you so much. We are honored today to be a part of this fantastic event. You all having a great time so far? Awesome, that's what I want to hear. So we've already been experiencing some amazing gameplay this afternoon and really experiencing so much of what esports is, but I think it's really important as you begin to learn more about this industry to just understand all of the aspects of esports and how to get engaged with it. So I'm really honored to be a part of this panel today with these three gentlemen next to me who all represent various aspects of this growing esports industry. So with that, I'd like to have each of my panelists do a 30-second elevator pitch so you all know who you're going to be listening to for the next half hour.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Simon Mack. I am a professor of entrepreneurship at the SMU Koch School of Business. I am also the faculty advisor for the SMU Esports Club. This is our official jersey. Shout out. Woo! I have also been teaching esports entrepreneurship for a little over 5 years in my entrepreneurship class. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about, university esports and then esports entrepreneurship.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris Cheney. I've been in the space for about 3.5 years as an active advisor, investor, and entrepreneur. I started a company called Infinite Esports and Entertainment, which was recently acquired, actually about 10 days ago. And I'm really excited about what we've been able to accomplish here in the Dallas esports ecosystem, and excited about what's happening across the country and globally.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out on Saturday. My name is Eric Griffin. I'm the Managing Director of Research and Innovation in the Dallas Regional Chamber. And our particular focus on our team is to figure out how to elevate the innovation economy over the next few decades. And esports falls squarely into the innovation economy. There's continual birth and rebirth, and it's very exciting to us because some of our most talented youth are getting into the space, some of the most creative entrepreneurs are in the space, and we are doing the best that we can do to support the entire ecosystem growth over the next coming decades.
Wonderful, and as Aaron had mentioned, my name is Byron Abrig, co-founder of a company called Mission Control. We're a rec league esports platform. So we've got the entrepreneur, the investor, the academic, the community represented up here. To kick things off, Chris, I'd like to turn to you as a serial investor and entrepreneur in the space. What attracted you so much about esports to get engaged and started with it from the beginning?
Well, I think, first of all, I've spent all of my career in sports media and entertainment. I've been, call it in the periphery of esports for a long time. But in early 2016, I started seeing some more news articles about the growth of the space, and not just here in the US, but also all around the world. And so I decided I need to learn about esports. I'm a very curious person, intellectually curious, business curious, and so I started doing research, and I found this really passionate community of individuals that truly stretches the globe, and I thought I should spend more time in it, get to know it even better, and perhaps there's an opportunity to build some companies and make some investments and be a catalyst to the growth of the space. And really that set off what I'd almost call a chain reaction, and haven't turned back since. I'm right now an advisor to over a dozen different startups that cover everything from data and analytics to performance to regional-based esports organizations. It's been really an amazing experience, and obviously a lot of the attention recently in the last couple of years has been focused around teams. Everyone seems to be excited about pro esports teams and their potential and some of the similarities to traditional sports teams. But I think what I'm even more excited about is this ecosystem that's developing around technology, infrastructure, that's supporting not just esports, but even the wider world of gaming. And that's where I've seen some great entrepreneurs and a lot of good activity happening.
In terms of the ecosystem, we happen to be very fortunate to be in Dallas, which last year ESPN named as the second esports capital in the country, just behind LA. From the number of teams, the entrepreneurs, the facilities that are here, it really is unbelievable what is growing from an infrastructure standpoint in this community. Eric, could you speak a little bit about the region's initiative in how they got into esports and the return that you all have seen on that investment so far?
I'm not going to talk about the return on investment, but I will talk about the fact that Dallas was rated by this great Jacob said that Dallas should be considered at least the second, I would say if not first. I think what we really don't have are the large studios here. We do have great studios here, so I don't think that's really the problem. I think it's just that we don't market ourselves very well, because if you talk to some of the people in this audience that you'll see out here, Dallas has been a gaming center for 40 years. We were there at the beginning. And in fact, if you want to go back far enough, if TI did this thing called the semiconductor chip, we wouldn't be gaming at all right now. So we really have a very, very long history in the gaming world. But in terms of esports specifically, I kind of fell into it because we had this great meeting with a couple of guys named Hector Rodriguez and Ryan Musselman about 2 years ago, saying, hey, we're looking for a new home. We'd like to talk to the chamber about what the possibilities are. And it just happened to be that our economic development team was all out on a mission trip to California doing what we do, which is recruit businesses from highly regulated and high dollar places to do business and bring them to Texas and turn them into great companies. So I took this meeting and I realized, oh my gosh, there's this whole world that we're not focusing on at all. There is this enormous industry that is not in the mainstream, and the economic development potential, especially from an innovation standpoint and from the entrepreneurial standpoint, which is what we deal with on a regular basis, is incredibly enormous. So we started delving into it and trying to figure out what does this really mean. A couple weeks after we met with the guys from Optic, we find out, oh, Dallas Fuel, or not Dallas Fuel at the time, but Ken Hirsch has invested in esports company from North Carolina and ready to move here. And then a few weeks later, oh, Jerry Jones has invested in a company based out of Atlanta and they're going to come here. What is happening? And so we started to really peel back the leaves on this thing that's growing and realize we have an infrastructure already here ready to support in terms of the legal groups that have put together esports practices, the architecture groups that have put together esports practices, everything that you would need to have a sector of an industry survive and grow. And so we decided we're going to go all in and try to figure out how can we continue to grow it and find out what the gaps are that we need to recruit for, because that's what we do as an organization. We try to recruit businesses and we try to recruit talent. And we try to grow and maintain what we have as well. But because we've been so successful in doing that over the past 10 years, we're in a very fortunate position to be selective in what we get into, what we get involved in. We want to be involved in growing industries and companies that are in those industries that are willing to give back to the community. And esports and gaming by its very nature is a community. And so we're thrilled to be a part of it. And in fact, the very first effort that my boss asked me to get involved with was, I don't understand what these things are. Show me on a map what these things look like. And so I started doing a little bit of research, and it just got to be this big spaghetti piece of paper with lines going all over the place with connections here, and this team plays this team here, and this team owns these 3 things over here, and Infinite owned, I don't know how many companies you owned at one time. And so in order to be able to show people exactly what it was that made Dallas a strong place, I said, we can't have a piece of paper with spaghetti, let's put together a poster that shows the business of esports. And so what this is intended to do is, it's basically when I was a young kid, I used to love the Dallas Cowboys. I still love the Dallas Cowboys, but I used to really love the Dallas Cowboys. And I would always go to McDonald's every year and get my roster poster for that year. And I still have those posters. I don't watch the games as much as I used to, but I still have those posters. And so my intention with this was to say, look, let's say, why is Dallas an important place to do business as an esports organization? Let's attach it to different things that might be happening here. Like this was for homestand weekend when Dallas Fuel hosted the OWL tournament, the first non-Los Angeles-based on-the-road deal. And so you have the schedule on the back, and then you have what do we know about esports with Mark Cuban invested, Jerry Jones invested, Hirsch invested, Phil Levin invested. They're all business-savvy people, they're all sports-savvy people, there must be something to it. And then on the other side, if you have really good eyes, you'll see that the complexity logo is still the gold. There's been a new run since this time, but we have the teams that are based here. We have the university systems that have either program-specifically dedicated to teaching kids how to develop video games or teams themselves. And I'll hear from Simon about the entrepreneurship program. And then we have the facilities, and we have an accelerator program here. So I think that's why we're recognized as number 2. And I hope number 1 is coming soon.
I mean, without a doubt, it is amazing what has popped up, grown organically, and the businesses that have come here because they've seen this opportunity and this community that is just embracing this industry and going all in. I think something that's so important for any thriving business community is you have to have young people that are getting educated here, remaining here, and being engaged. So I'm just thinking a little bit about how universities recognize esports as an opportunity on their campus and how SMU has been introducing esports.
Sure, thank you very much. And so at SMU, and I would say it's pretty much the same all around across different universities, we're all trying to figure out what's the exact formula. But let me talk to you about what exactly we're thinking about. Universities invest in the esports programs under 3 generic buckets. The first bucket is the gaming bucket, the playing of the sport. Is it going to be club-based? Is it intramural? Are we going to have a team? Are we going to try to create professionals, right? So that's the playing bucket. The second bucket is to develop students to be employees of gaming companies, right? Or game esports types of companies. And then the third bucket is to train students to do esports startups, the new businesses, all right? And so these 3 buckets exist in just about every university. At SMU right now, we have an esports club of which I'm the faculty advisor, and we go to tournaments and we play. We are now exploring whether we should go intramural and even try to get some sort of formal NCAA type of game. Then on the third bucket, which is esports entrepreneurship, that's the piece that I play academically. And so I've been teaching students to think about new business models in the area of esports. And this is very important to me. If you're an entrepreneur in the audience or if you're an investor in the audience, I don't know if you remember, but during the dot-com boom, all these companies just stuck an E in front of their name. Remember that? E-Pets, E-Gardens. And they said, see, we're a new business. They really weren't. And so you want to be really, really careful and smart about investing in esports startups. For example, when the internet came around, print newspaper thought, oh, people just wanted a digital version of our newspaper, right? So they stuck a digital version of the newspaper online and it crashed. Because that's actually not what people wanted. People wanted things like interactive maps. People wanted things like interactive temperature, interactive classifieds. And so there's all these new business models that came about. So what I'm seeing in esports entrepreneurship right now is there's a lot of startups that are basically putting an E in front of a traditional business. You get what I'm saying? What I'm not seeing are really new, creative, innovative business models. That's where I think we're going to find some cool stuff. And this is what we're teaching at SMU. Thank you very much.
Now, Chris, I think that really opens the question up. In terms of where the money is coming and going for esports startups, what are some of the areas that you see that have been over-invested in and those that are being under-invested in?
Sure, and Simon mentioned a great point, and that is there's lots of need to startups, and that's exactly what he said. There's a lot of hype around esports, and I think justifiably so, because it is the future of entertainment, in my view anyway. But a lot of companies, a lot of entrepreneurs are just getting into the space just because they want to do esports, not necessarily because they're actually solving a problem or they have a solution to a perceived problem that has some kind of product market fit. But I think right now we've seen probably the tail end of some of the biggest investments in teams into the $40–50 million plus into a single esports organization, into a single team. I think we'll see bigger dollar amounts in the future, but probably less investments as the team side. We'll probably see some level of consolidation. You'll see the really, really big organizations, of which there probably will be a handful, and then you'll basically have everyone else, call it the haves and the have-nots. So that's where, before long, you'll have major private equity firms get involved. I think you'll continue to have multi-billionaires, ultra-high net worth individuals getting involved. But where I see the most activity in terms of the number of deals getting done, that's more on the startup side with regards to ecosystem, infrastructure, technology. So far, biggest dollar amounts and those investments on the team side, I see that tapering off. Just a few really, really big deals with big-time investors coming into the space, but an increasing number of startup opportunities, early stage startup opportunities. So I've seen everything from data and analytics. Obviously, for the most part, we're looking at screens. It's easier, or there's more opportunity for data capture, for data analysis. I've seen more startups around performance. Even if you look at pro esports players today, the way they train is actually really straightforward. They just practice for 6 hours or 4 hours, right? But if you look at the top athletes in traditional sports, the level of sophistication of quote-unquote practice, we've never seen anything like this before. I mean, today in football, you just don't practice football. There's 10,000 things that you do around the game, right? Everything from hand-eye coordination to, testing your oxygen levels, testing your overall nutrients, right, in your body, and then creating special formulations so that you're able to perform at the highest level. So there's a lot that goes into this idea of performance. So I'm seeing more startups that are addressing what is esports performance and how can we take players to the next level. And then there's also things around tournament platforms and Byron and this team's working on with regards to this intramural solution for esports. There's really a thriving ecosystem that's developing that's addressing many of the aspects within esports, and that's where I see an increasing number of deals, some really good entrepreneurs coming into the space from all over the world, which is exciting, and hopefully I think we'll see some great companies come out of that long term.
One area of the investment industry that has largely, or is still rather nascent in the United States, but is completely blown up over in Asia, Eastern Europe, and that's around facilities and actual physical spaces where people are going to play in games. You see video gaming cafes, which are a huge part of the gaming culture over in Asia. I think it's really, we are in one of the first types of spaces in this Dallas ecosystem that's recognizing the physical space to come and play and game with others is vastly important. Eric, can you talk about the different facilities that have popped up here in the region and what they have done for the teams, the colleges, and just the community here?
Sure, I think space is an enormously important part of the ecosystem because I think that the general public that doesn't have a gamer in their family or don't really pay attention to what their gamer is doing in their family just think they're staying at home playing video games by themselves all day long. But really there's this hidden community that's been developed over the past couple of decades of people playing online with one another. And from what I found, there's nothing that people like better than to get together and game together. So a facility like this is incredibly important to have fellowship and camaraderie and check on the latest stats we're having. But we have this great facility. Mark even had a great vision where he kind of pulled the NBA towards the e-gaming league for NBA 2K. This is also a community facility that doesn't just focus on esports and gaming. They have other events here as well that brings people into the community, right? And we had Arlington, the city of Arlington jumped on it really quickly and said, look, we know, we see what's happening. They didn't construct something new. They took an existing facility and said, let's retrofit this, let's turn it into the largest esports facility in the country at the time it would be. But then you have the Overwatch League that requires their franchise teams to have a home site within by 2020, 2021, and that 2021. So we've got the Dallas Field currently looking right now to locate where they want to be. That's going to generate an enormous impact in the community because the people working on this project are not thinking about the stadium in terms of like a Cowboys stadium or even Rangers Texas Live right now, they want 24/7 activation with living rooms around it and something that can happen on a regular basis that is not contingent on esports being successful in any given minute. So I think it's a placemaking thing. Facility is very, very important. But it also matters to the local gamer that wants. You're going to hear from Geek Beats later on. Very small local situations where neighborhood kids can get together and play and have something productive to do, and not only just game, but learn about gaming, learn about what goes into gaming, and get some education along with it. The facility is a community building function. So I'm very hopeful that we have more facilities that focus on local markets. I think you'll see that GameStop, regardless of what's happened with their trajectory over the past few years, is really trying to figure out how to drive traffic back to their stores, but to game, not to go just buy games, not to go get their game informer, but to have people there activated in the store, fellowshipping with one another and playing their favorite games. So I hope we have more.
I certainly do as well, and I think especially the organizations that are bringing this space down to the youngest gamer. You see companies like Play Versus that are building out the high school infrastructure, Collegiate Star League, TESPA, other organizations like that. In college, kids are starting to recognize that I have a potential professional future here. I think something that's really cool that you're starting to see. I grew up playing sports like many of you, and as a young kid, it was just I just want to be a pro. But I remember being told there are other ways you can be engaged in sports. You can work for a team, you can be a broadcaster. You're starting to see more and more opportunities like that. Simon, could you speak from the academic perspective how universities are looking at esports and gaming from an education perspective and what those implications can be for students coming into college in the next 5 to 10 years?
So at SMU, we are a TESPA university, and so they've been very good to us. They sponsor a lot of our events. So again, if you think about the 3 buckets that I talked about, does SMU want to get into the business of training professional gamers, right? That's a question that we have to answer. I don't know what the right answer is just yet, but that is a question that we're trying to answer right now. And I actually have students in our esports club, that's their goal. They want to become professional gamers, and I'm learning all about the minor leagues in gaming. I didn't even know there were minor leagues, right? There are minor leagues in gaming. And so I'm learning about all this stuff. Now, that is really not an academic role, right? That's more of an athletic role. From an academic role, we talk about developing games, game development. And so at SMU, we have an organization called the Guildhall, which is the #1 rated game development program in the country at the master's program, level. So we're training students to develop the next generation of cool games, right? And so if you combine students who are learning how to develop cool games, and you combine them with students who are learning about new business models that are developing as a result of esports, we're hoping that synergy can create all sorts of cool stuff. And at SMU, where that's going to happen, it's going to be at our incubator. So we have an SMU incubator on campus where we're going to try to match all these students up and see what kind of cool stuff can come out of it. And so that's the academic role that we think SMU will play at this point.
To bring it back around to the investment, obviously, from hearing from all of these different angles, from the startup team, the college, the community, there's a lot of opportunity here. But to Chris's point earlier, that there's also a lot of shade out there. You need to make sure that you're asking the right questions, that these are legit opportunities. And I think it's an easy tendency to, as an investor, hear esports and immediately just throw your money at it. From each of your perspectives, what are some of the questions that you as an investor need to be asking about an esports opportunity to really vet and see, okay, does this thing have some foundation there?
You want to start? You want to go line? Well, I would say first and foremost, esports is a high-tech industry. And what the Dallas Regional Chamber has done in the past year is produce, I think I mentioned earlier, a study about how do we become the innovation economy decades down the road. And we came up with a number of strategies, actually in conjunction with SMU, United Way of Metropolitan Dallas, led by Accenture. We did a region-wide study of people in the entrepreneur community and the corporate innovation side, education, and creatives. And we basically said, what do we do well and what are we missing? And once we compiled all that information, we came up with a set of strategies, a number of tactics, but we really wrapped ourselves around 4 emerging technologies. And I won't go into those into detail now, but the idea is that these emerging technologies all have a touch on the gaming industry and on esports in particular. And so if I was investing, I would be asking, as a startup in the esports world, are you looking at the convergence of technologies? And what is your long-term business plan? What are you trying? Chris said it earlier. If you're not trying to solve a business challenge, then you're not really doing anything. You're just looking for startup capital. If you're not trying to build a community, you're not really doing anything. You're looking for startup capital. So that's what I would recommend, is looking at the nexus of technologies and what is the long-term solution for community building and business jobs.
One of the things that's really important to me is listening. Sometimes it's easy to want to hear ourselves talk, and I think as an investor, I love hearing from the entrepreneurs themselves. What's their vision? Tell me about your team. What problem are you solving? How are you thinking about your addressable market? What's your business model? Just tell me your story. And I think the way entrepreneurs think about themselves, both as individuals as well as CEOs and business leaders, that tells me a lot about the potential of that company. For me, it starts with people first, right? Sometimes you might have a really fabulous entrepreneur, but he's not quite, or she's not quite on the right path. But you think she can get there with maybe some guidance, maybe some capital, and improved team. And sometimes you just don't think that person is the entrepreneur. It has what it takes to be successful. So I like to listen first and then form some thoughts around whether or not it's the team and the people that I think I can get behind. And then drill deeper into, again, you can look at all the different metrics, and it's just numbers, right? It's just numbers, nonsense. It's the people that drive execution. Lots of people have good ideas, very few people have good execution. It's that simple. And ultimately, startups succeed because of good execution, which comes back to good people. And they might not even have the best ideas. The ideas are just mediocre, right? So lots of listening and getting an understanding of who the people are, why are they building it, how much do they care, how far are they willing to go, right? Are they willing to go that proverbial extra mile? And so it's almost more like human psychology or sociology exercise than it is about investing and entrepreneurship. So for me, that's really exciting because of that human element.
So I moved here from Silicon Valley. I was actually with a startup. I was an employee early employee with Wilmington, and when we IPO'd, and I came to Dallas to open up that office, and eventually HP bought us out for $4.5 million. So I view the lens of entrepreneurship through the lens of my experience in Silicon Valley. And I changed careers a few years back to be a teacher, but I would say 2 things from an entrepreneurship investment perspective, and I'm on the investment committee in the business school, so we do investments as well as I do personal investments. The number one thing I look at is hunger. How hungry are you? I don't care about what you know. I want to know how hungry you are. I don't care about your experience. I don't care about any of this stuff. If you're not hungry, then there's no way that I want to invest in you, because sooner or later you're going to run into some obstacle, right? And what are you going to do about that? So hunger is number one. The second thing, because I teach business models, is I want you to be hungry enough to go try to identify, discover, create a scalable, repeatable, profitable business model. All right? I want you to tell me the best case scenario, how big can this thing be? And if in the best case scenario, it doesn't really interest me, then why would I invest, right? And so I tell my students, don't be conservative in your projections, go crazy. Because I want to know how crazy, tell me about your dreams, right? How big can this thing be? Because I'm an investor, right? And so that's what I would say. And the answer I just gave you had nothing to do with esports. It just has to do with investment advice in general.
Those are all fantastic things that I know as an entrepreneur I think about when I go and talk to potential investors, and really fantastic things that anyone just examining a startup, esports, any industry, are those types of questions that you need to be thinking through in your head about if this is going to take off or if there's a real opportunity here. One last question that I want to pose to you all. This is a really unique event because you are bringing together former traditional sport athletes to introduce them to the opportunity that exists in esports. What do you think is so unique that a former athlete can offer to esport entrepreneurs or teams or schools that maybe any other investor or individual might not be able to?
Grit. Right? I mean, that's what Simon was basically just saying, that hunger, or maybe another word for it is grit. I know, I was a student manager for a basketball team in college, and what it takes to be an athlete and to be a student, and then to even make it to the pros and have even a little bit of success there, to make it in the first place and then have some semblance of success is just unbelievable. The dedication, the commitment, and the grit. And I think, if I have the choice of, two exact same candidates, right, exact same profile, one person was an athlete and the other person wasn't, I think I'll take the athlete, because I know there's a team player behind that, someone that's experienced probably the highs and lows of being an athlete, the grit, perseverance, the commitment, all that stuff. So grit is for me what someone would bring to the table.
It's the exact same answer. I think that's why you see such a preponderance of either sports team owners or former athletes that invested in esports organizations, because they recognize, first of all, that people in esports are athletes. They are athletes. They may be mental athletes, but they are athletes. And so being able to, because there was not really a structure in the same way that there was for formal organized traditional sports, for the esports leagues when they first started, now you're starting to see that congeal. For instance, with complexity up at the Star now, we're training the same facilities that Cal we're training in. So I think it's the grit, but it's the discipline, and it's the structure to tell somebody that you have to overcome obstacles and barriers to make it to that next level.
I'll add a perspective, and I'll use the word creativity. Like, you've heard statements about how athletes at the top of the league and athletes that are not at the top of the league in terms of skill set, it's not really that much difference, right? You've heard those kind of statements made. So as well as we attribute it to their mental mindset and those sorts of things, I will also say that most successful athletes, they're creative. They figure out a way to beat the opponent, right? They figure out a way. They've got a free safety defending them. They know how to just knock that free safety off the route just so that they can reach out and grab that ball. In entrepreneur land, again, I tell students, it's a lot of hand-to-hand combat. You've got to be comfortable knocking that free safety off and not getting flagged, of course, right? And going for it. So it's little things like that that I think athletes can really break into the world of entrepreneurship. That can be really fun and very cool.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that's a great note to end this panel on. Can I have everyone give these gentlemen a round of applause? Thank you all, and I'm excited to have you hear more